The allure of the past has always held a strange hypnotic power over the modern imagination, drawing us back to eras defined by their distinct textures, sounds, and unspoken tensions. There is something uniquely captivating about the 1970s, a decade caught between the raw idealism of the previous generation and the cold, calculated pragmatism of the late 20th century. In the world of television, capturing this exact atmosphere requires far more than just period-accurate costumes and vintage automobiles. It demands an understanding of the rhythm of life before the digital age, where secrets were whispered into heavy analog telephones and danger hid behind the heavy velvet curtains of diplomatic sanctuaries. When audiences turn on a television screen today, they are often searching for an escape that feels both entirely alien and deeply familiar, a cinematic space where the stakes are tangible and every glance carries a hidden weight. It is within this precise cultural craving that a remarkable new narrative tapestry began to take shape. Woven by creators who understood that the best way to explore human connection is to place it under the magnifying glass of historical pressure and stylistic elegance. The journey into this specific world begins not with an explosion or a grand declaration, but with the quiet hum of a tape reel spinning in a dimly lit room, setting the stage for a story that would eventually captivate millions of viewers worldwide. To truly appreciate the foundation of this cinematic universe, one must look at the creative minds who dared to step away from traditional storytelling boundaries to build something entirely fresh yet deeply nostalgic. Having spent years honing their craft in the fast-paced, relentless world of comedy writing for both television and feature films, the creators possessed a unique weapon: the ability to find absurdity and lightness in the most rigid of structures. When the initial spark for the series known as Ponies first arrived, it did not come from a desire to merely replicate history, but from a fascination with the unsung figures operating within the shadows of international diplomacy. The inspiration was drawn from a rich matrix of 1970s media, channeling the paranoid tension of classic espionage cinema while infusing it with a modern, character-driven heartbeat that prioritizes the psychological landscape over mere plot mechanics. Transitioning from the lighthearted structures of pure comedy to a sophisticated blend of suspense and humor required a delicate hand, ensuring that the laughter never undermined the genuine danger lurking around the corner, and that the historical backdrops felt like living, breathing environments rather than static museum exhibits. It was this ambitious tonal marriage that laid the groundwork for what would become one of the most talked-about television projects of the year, signaling the arrival of a narrative that refuses to be neatly categorized. A significant part of building this irresistible intrigue lies in the deliberate, uncompromising choices made regarding the visual identity and sonic landscape of the production from its very inception. The decision to film the entire project in a specific vintage aspect ratio was not a post-production afterthought, but a foundational commitment to viewing this world through an authentic 1970s lens, forcing the camera to capture intimacy and claustrophobia in a way that modern widescreen formats often lose. This meticulous attention to detail extends seamlessly into the soundtrack, which serves as the emotional engine of the narrative, featuring iconic melodies from era-defining legends such as Fleetwood Mac and Billy Joel. These musical choices do not merely sit in the background. They actively dialogue with the characters, providing a lyrical subtext to their internal struggles and capturing the bittersweet essence of a changing world. By embedding these recognizable anthems into the fabric of the show, the creators managed to establish an immediate visceral connection with the audience, evoking a powerful sense of time and place before a single line of dialogue is even spoken. As the viewer is drawn deeper into this beautifully realized aesthetic, they begin to sense that beneath the glamorous surface of retro melodies and warm color palettes lies a complex web of human relationships waiting to be unraveled, beyond the audio and visual elements. The atmospheric weight of the show is amplified by its physical setting, a world where grand European architecture meets the cold bureaucracy of foreign service. The choice of location provides a stunning, textured backdrop that feels miles away from the familiar streets of American television, immediately casting a spell of displacement and curiosity over the audience. In this environment, every long corridor, high ceiling, and dimly lit office becomes a character of its own, echoing with the footsteps of people who are far from home and deeply entangled in a game they do not fully understand. This unique geography allows the narrative to breathe, giving the characters a vast yet suffocating playground where personal identities are constantly challenged by institutional expectations. It is a place where a simple conversation over coffee can feel like a tactical negotiation, and where the line between an ally and an adversary is permanently blurred by the shifting sands of global relationships. By immersing the viewers in this specific, unfamiliar terrain right from the opening frames, the production ensures that the sense of mystery is not just a plot device, but a physical space that the audience inhabits alongside the heroes. At the absolute center of this unfolding mystery are two women who embody the very concept of contrasting forces finding common ground in an unstable environment. Bea and Twila, brought to life through a masterclass in screen presence, stand as the anchors of the entire narrative, introducing us to a world where superficial differences mask a profound, shared resilience. When we first encounter them, they appear to occupy entirely different spheres of existence, presenting distinct archetypes of womanhood in a decade that was actively rewriting the rules of society. Yet, as the narrative machinery begins to turn, their surface-level disparities begin to melt away, revealing a core alignment that allows them to complement one another in ways neither could have anticipated. Before we fully pull back the curtain on the grand architectural design of this embassy world and explore the extraordinary casting chemistry that made these roles so iconic, it is essential to stay connected with our ongoing exploration of television's greatest triumphs. So consider taking a brief moment to subscribe to this channel to ensure you never miss the upcoming chapters of this unfolding analysis. The stage is now perfectly set. The vintage lights dimmed, and the low rumble of a decade on the brink of transformation invites us to look closer at the remarkable journey that lies ahead. The absolute culmination of this retro-fueled journey arrives in an explosive, breathless sequence of events that completely redefines everything the audience thought they knew about the high-stakes world of international diplomacy and personal allegiance. In the spectacular season finale, the carefully constructed walls of institutional security and administrative comfort completely shatter as the overarching narrative brings the omnipresent, creeping threat of the Cold War right to the doorstep of the diplomatic sanctuary. The infiltration of the embassy by deep-cover hostile operatives stands as a masterclass in structural tension building, where the slow-burning paranoiac atmosphere established in the earlier episodes finally ignites into a full-scale crisis that tests the survival instincts of every character involved. Yet, amidst the chaotic choreography of espionage, blaring alarms, and frantic political maneuvering, the creators make a profound narrative statement by anchoring the emotional climax of the entire series not in a violent physical confrontation or a calculated act of betrayal, but in a quiet, profoundly intimate moment between two women who have come to mean everything to one another. As the geopolitical world literally crumbles around them and the systems they trusted fail, Bea and Twila reach out and hold hands, a simple yet monumental gesture that represents the true, unshakable core of the entire show. This beautiful ending was always the exact destination the writers were building toward from the very first page of the script, serving as a powerful thematic reminder that the ultimate shield against historical chaos is not global power or political cleverness, but the unbreakable bond of genuine human friendship. By choosing to close the season on this precise, vulnerable image, the series effortlessly elevates itself from a stylish period thriller into a deeply moving, timeless testament to female solidarity, demonstrating with absolute clarity that even in a world entirely dictated by systemic deception, absolute loyalty and love are still entirely possible. Compounding the immense emotional weight of this finale is a breathtaking, calculated narrative pivot that left audiences absolutely reeling and completely recontextualized the events of all the preceding episodes in a single stroke. The shocking revelation surrounding Cheryl's true motivations and hidden identity stands out as one of the most brilliant pieces of plot engineering in recent television history. A narrative twist that was meticulously planned and seeded from the project's very inception. This revelation was deliberately not a cheap trick designed merely to shock the audience for the sake of a cliffhanger, but rather a beautifully earned narrative payoff that rewards observant viewers who had been paying close attention to the subtle breadcrumbs and delicate psychological cues dropped throughout the season. The exceptional mastery required to execute such a massive, fundamental shift in narrative perspective speaks directly to the creator's extensive background in comedy and dramatic writing. a hybrid skill set that allowed them to balance jaw-dropping plot developments with a persistent, grounded undercurrent of witty realism and human vulnerability. Throughout this intricate puzzle of a season, the writers clearly took immense pleasure in hiding various Easter eggs, subtle historical nods, and clever background details that added infinite layers of depth for the most dedicated fans to uncover and debate upon repeat viewings. These hidden elements were never structured as a distracting gimmick, but instead functioned beautifully as a parallel layer of visual storytelling, enhancing the physical texture of the world and demonstrating a profound respect for an audience that loves to closely examine every single frame for a deeper meaning. This uncompromising dedication to narrative richness and thematic depth is further exemplified by the seamless, organic integration of real historical figures and specific 20th century milestones that anchored the fictional drama in an undeniable sense of reality. Rather than treating history as a convenient, static backdrop for melodrama, the series actively dialogues with the specific geopolitical anxieties, social shifts, and cultural touchstones of the 1970s, embedding its characters into moments that feel remarkably authentic and urgent. This grand creative ambition was fully realized through the physical production's uncompromising decision to film entirely on location in Budapest, a city whose stunning, deeply layered European architecture provided the perfect physical manifestation of the show's complex psychological landscape. The historic cobblestone streets, grand institutional facades, and dimly lit, cavernous corridors of the Hungarian capital lent an irreplaceable sense of weight, history, and physical gravity to every scene, allowing the environment to double perfectly as a complex web of international embassies and clandestine meeting grounds where global destinies are quietly decided. By stepping away from isolated Hollywood soundstages and choosing to immerse the entire production in a living, breathing European landscape, the creators successfully captured a palpable atmosphere of displacement, isolation, and historical grandeur that could never be replicated through digital effects, ensuring that every frame felt thoroughly saturated with the true gritty texture of the era. The vast, deeply immersive world built upon the historic streets of Budapest was brought to life not only by its primary star power, but by an extraordinary sweeping international cast that gave the series its remarkably global and authentic heartbeat. The production team made a conscious and highly deliberate choice to round out the ensemble by casting a multitude of incredibly talented, up-and-coming, and relatively unknown actors from across the globe to portray the various diplomats, intelligence operatives, and ordinary citizens caught in the historical crossfire. This specific casting philosophy added an immense, refreshing layer of realism to the show as audiences were continuously introduced to fresh, unfamiliar faces whose grounded performances carried no preconceived Hollywood expectations or distracting star personas, making their characters feel entirely real and completely unpredictable. Working alongside established comedic and dramatic powerhouses, these international actors brought an incredibly diverse array of performing styles, linguistic nuances, and cultural perspectives to the set every day, creating a rich, vibrant mosaic of human interactions that beautifully mirrored the complex international tapestry of the era itself. A particularly special highlight within this brilliant ensemble was the inclusion of standout talent like meticulous, whose unique comedic timing, expressive range, and singular screen presence provide a perfect, memorable energy to the show's intricate ecosystem, proving that every single role was cast with an eye toward absolute perfection and creative synergy. As the dust finally settles on the explosive, transformative events of the first season, audiences are naturally left wondering where this captivating journey will take these beautifully realized characters next as they face an increasingly uncertain future. While an official public announcement regarding a highly anticipated second season remains shrouded in the usual industry secrecy, the creators possess a very clear, exhilarating creative roadmap of exactly where they intend to steer this evolving narrative and how they plan to dramatically expand the emotional stakes. The personal and professional journey for Bea and Twila is far from over, and the sweeping consequences of their courageous choices in the finale are bound to ripple across the international stage, forcing them to navigate even more complex, dangerous webs of romance, loyalty, and existential danger. For those passionate, dedicated viewers who are eager to dive even deeper into the minds of the show's creators and uncover exclusive, extended insights into what lies ahead for a potential second season, The wonderful opportunity to stay permanently connected is readily available by signing up for BuzzFeed's Screen Time newsletter. This dedicated digital forum offers fans an unparalleled look behind the creative curtain, providing the definitive space for complex theories, behind-the-scenes secrets, and exclusive commentary that will keep the vibrant spirit of this remarkable 1970s masterpiece alive while the entire world waits with bated breath for the next thrilling